In our last video, we headed off to St. Augustine for the holidays to visit some friends. I got a fly fishing lesson from Tim. We explored the lights in St. Augustine for the holiday season, and then did some provisioning for the Bahamas and some generator maintenance for the boat, and replaced the air conditioning in the cabins, followed by some much needed brightening up of island time. In this video, we head further south in Florida, past Jupiter, West Palm, Fort Lauderdale, where we narrowly miss a tornado. We hang out in Miami a little, tour the mangroves, and then when we get the appropriate weather window, we take off for the Bahamas on a rather bumpy ride, but we finally get there after a good 10 hours and enjoy a beautiful Bahama morning. Have you ever dreamed of selling it all and cruising into the sunset? Well, that's exactly what we did. It's no fun going it alone though, so why don't you join us for the ride? So we're leaving Camp Carroll in Stuart, Florida area, and heading to a little north of West Palm today to a nice little secluded anchorage. Seems like a nice day, sunny, low wind. We're about to hit a drawbridge, railroad bridge. So it just says that the railroad bridge is lowering right now, but we're looking forward to a good day. Unfortunately, these guys aren't having a good day to start off. Looks like they strayed outside of the buoys and ended up on a sandbar, and two sea-tow boats are trying to drag them off. As we cruise south on the Intercoastal Waterway, we passed Hobe Sound and then Jupiter Island. Jupiter Island is one of the pricier zip codes in the United States. Some of the people who have lived in Jupiter Island are Burt Reynolds, Celine Dion, Alan Jackson, a number of golfers including Tiger Woods and Greg Norman, and also Michael Jordan. There's a PDQ 41 owner at the Jupiter Island Club Marina, and he happened to catch a shot of island time coming by that morning. Heading into our nice little anchorage for the evening, just north of West Palm Beach. Island Time likes to anchor in $1 million homes. Our friends had recommended this anchorage, and it was a perfect choice with 360-degree protection from winds, so it made for very calm sleeping. Our neighbor here at our bougie anchorage just pulled this out from their house. It's a Pershing, 74 feet. Lori and I grilled burgers that night and were treated to an amazing sunset. Our friends John and Sally on Traveler showed up the next day and wrapped it up with us, and it happened to be Sally's birthday. All right.
It's a birthday, girl.
Happy birthday, Sally.
Doing service tonight, you are.
Cruising to dinner for Sally's birthday.
Woohoo!
Captain John.
There's a beautiful blue Hogue Merritt.
Two hot cheeks.
Check out that Merritt behind you. That's a beauty. That's a beauty.
Oh yeah, look at that.
You did.
We decided to go to Seasons 52 restaurant just north of PGA Boulevard because they had an outside dock. Here's a good shot of how the anchorage looked in the morning. You can see how serene and calm. And we left pretty early to head down to Boca. Here we are passing the port of Palm Beach, and it looks like the Margaritaville brand actually has a cruise ship. At our anchorage tonight, Lake Boca in Boca Raton, Florida. This is the party known as Lake Boca. Boats come in here every day. There's a shallow spot in the middle. Kind of tie up, raft up, and party. This is a Thursday, and the place is pretty crowded, not even the weekend. A lot of music playing. No doubt some alcohol. So the weather forecast for the next few days wasn't very good. We knew we would be traveling over to the Bahamas, so we could take our time moseying down south. And so we were headed from Lake Boca down to Fort Lauderdale, which is probably about a 3-4 hour trip with a number of bridges. So we are comfortably anchored in a place called Lake Sylvia. It is probably, I don't know, a quarter mile north of the Fort Lauderdale Inlet. So it's a popular staging area for the Bahamas. So people wait here for good weather and then they'll take off for the Bahamas. You can see there's a lot of boats here behind me. But I imagine the residents don't necessarily love us here. As you can see right behind me, we're probably about, I don't know, 80 feet away from this multi-million-dollar mansion. But this is open for anchoring. It's very popular and very well sheltered, so hopefully we'll have a good night. Wait for Traveler to come and join us. So we were staying for a few days and the weather was kind of crappy. We had to get off the boat and search for a bar. And being Fort Lauderdale, there are no lack of yachts. We found this convenient bar restaurant with a Winn-Dixie located right across the street for provisioning. So we were in a nice protected anchorage in Lake Sylvia, but the wind picked up later that day and there was actually tornado warnings and a tornado touchdown just a half-mile north of where we were at the anchorage. Thankfully it missed us and we didn't really get much of backlash or winds from it. And the next morning we decided to jump down to Miami. So we are in our nice little anchorage just north of Miami Beach. Waiting on Traveler to anchor. We're going to raft up with Traveler. They are ahead of us somewhere up there. There's a lot of vagrant boats here, like liveaboards. But it's a nice little place, very calm. Lori and I had a problem with our windlass this morning. We know what it is. The windlass is what pulls the anchor back up, and it was getting caught because a little piece broke off of it. So John and I are going to diagnose it second time. We'll get the part number, and we'll have it, because we're on the way to the Bahamas, we'll have it sent to our friends in Florida that are coming, and they could bring it to us. It's probably $20 part, but it prevents the chain from binding as your anchor gets pulled back up. So, little snafu this morning, but we got through it. We'll see if we can MacGyver something now to get us to the Bahamas. But if we raft up a few times, we won't need to anchor. So that's the status. Always something broken on island time. Boating life. Beautiful porthole views. Our Miami anchorage was adjacent to State Park and walking distance to supermarkets, so we dropped the girls off so they could do some shopping, and we and the Cakes took the dinghy to explore the mangroves. It's Miami. Waiting on the Venetian Causeway Bridge.
Yeah, that's a beauty. I'm trying to figure out what the name of it is, but you can't see it.
So we had left the anchorage in Miami early that morning and headed down to No Name Harbor in Key Biscayne area of South Miami, where we were going to spend the night. But once we got to the anchorage, it was about 11:30 a.m. We decided that the weather window looked good and that we should hop to the Bahamas. So we left at about 11:30 that morning. The forecast said 3-foot seas, and we decided to just see if we could do it. Head out towards Bimini. If it got really bad, we'd turn back, or we'd go to Bimini for the evening. And if it was really good, we would end up going to Great Harbor over in the Berry Islands. Needless to say, the Gulf Stream was very sporty, with 3 to 4 footers and an occasional 5-footer. But thankfully, it was more rolling swells than anything else. And we could still make 12 to 13 knots.
Get me off of this fucking boat! Get me off!
So the first 50 miles or so is across the Gulf Stream. The currents are pretty strong, and if you get a north wind, it can get very choppy, which is kind of what we had. It took us about 4 hours to get across, and then as we got past Bimini, you're on the Bahama bank, and you could see from this diagram that it is much more shallow. The waves don't peak that much, and once we got to the bank, there were only about 1 foot waves, so it was super smooth. And we took that. We decided to go the rest of the way onto Great Harbor Key. It's kind of exciting when you get to the Bahama bank because it's much more shallow. The hues turn into kind of a light greenish, and you could actually see the bottom. So our ETA at Great Harbor was 9 p.m. We knew we would be running 3 hours in the dark, so I turned on radar, and it's usually pretty safe on the bank because it's pretty shallow and no big ships can go there, but you still have to watch out for other vessels that might be anchored or running. We did that, and once we got to Great Harbor Key, there's a narrow cut to get into the harbor, so we decided to wait for the morning and we anchored outside. So after a 12-hour day, we're finally in the Bahamas.
Hey!
Piece of bread.
And Sally made us this amazing meal while underway. Look at that. What is it? Pasta bolognese with some burrata.
You haven't
and
tried it yet.
Fresh
hot bread out of the oven.
hot bread out of the oven.
Your guys are awesome.
That's the way we roll. Pancake. Hey, pancake. Where are we? Bahamas. Beautiful morning. We are rafted up with Traveler after a 12-hour day yesterday. Hear the roosters. A few other boats are here. We were treated to this awesome sunrise over Great Harbor Key, and we waited on the outside for the marina to call us in so that we can go through customs and immigration. and then get our slip in the marina. But that's about it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and we hope you enjoyed it.